Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We are thrilled to have you all here today for our live stream presentation featuring new research from Deloitte on small businesses and their use of technology. I'm Leslie Hernandez-Deneen, and I lead research and insights for our small business outreach team here at Google, and I'll be your moderator for today's live stream. I'd like to welcome Soo-Young Kim, who leads our small business outreach team, to share a bit more about why we commissioned this new research with Deloitte.
Hi, Leslie. Thank you. It's really great to be here, and I want to thank everyone on this live stream for joining us. And we're all here together because small businesses are important. They're the backbone of our economy, the heart of our local communities. And it's hard to imagine our hometowns or neighborhoods we live in and our lives without the diversity of small businesses we rely on for products and services. Not only do these small businesses make our lives better, the nearly 29 million small businesses here in the US are revitalizing their towns, shaping their communities, one customer, more importantly, one employee at a time. They're creating jobs. In fact, small businesses in the US create 2 out of 3 net new private sector jobs. That's huge. So helping small businesses grow helps our economies flourish. At Google, Leslie and I have the great opportunity to work with small businesses through our products and programs we offer small businesses to grow online. And we wanted to further understand the web's role in helping small businesses grow in today's ever increasingly digital economy, where customers are going online to find businesses, do research, shop, get driving directions, discover products, look at photos, you name it. So we commissioned this research with Deloitte to better understand small businesses and their use of digital technology. And this research series examines how digital usage varies among small businesses, as well as the benefits and barriers that small businesses face in further adopting digital tools. So you'll hear from Deloitte today how digital tools can significantly help businesses grow and find new customers, and from real business owners, really great faces here, I've met many of them, who are growing because of the web. Because if we can understand the challenges and barriers and the greater opportunities for businesses, together we can help more businesses understand digital tools, experience the value that they can get from being online, get started, and find new customers and grow. So we hope this will be useful. Thanks again, and back to you, Leslie.
Thank you so much, Soo-Young. As Soo-Young mentioned, also joining us today to present this new research are George Collins and John Omani from Deloitte. George and John work in the digital and economics areas of Deloitte, which is a professional services firm that specializes in business research. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Here's our agenda for today's live stream. We're so excited that you all are here. So George and John are going to share an overview of the research findings from the new report. We are also, as Soo-Young mentioned, so fortunate to have a number of business owners joining us today to discuss the research, to discuss their own businesses and their experiences using technology in their businesses. And then finally, we want to open it up to you for a live Q&A. So if you have a question during any point in this live stream, please tweet us using the hashtag #SmallBizResearch, and we'll be gathering questions throughout the live stream to share with any of our presenters during the live Q&A in the final portion of this presentation. So with that, I will turn it over to George and to John to take us through the research findings.
Thanks, Leslie. So yes, we last year surveyed over 2,000 small businesses in the US. So these are businesses that have 250 employees or fewer, and looked at their usage and adoption of digital tools. So we classified them into 4 progressive areas, 4 progressive categories in the ladder on digital engagement. So ranging from basic business adoption to intermediate to high and then advanced. And we really looked at the use of 6 types of digital tools and technologies, from their web presence and email to adoption of social media to use of data and analytics, e-commerce capabilities, the use of online marketing and other internal digital tools. And so What we saw was a normal distribution. So the first 20% fell into a basic category. So basic use of email, a little bit of web. Then the next 30% were intermediate, a little more advanced use of web, of data. And then into the high category, we're seeing more sophisticated use of commerce capabilities, apps, and then as we move into the more advanced category, so this is another 20% of the population, even more sophisticated use, using data analytics to really target segments of the customer population. And as you move up the ladder, what we saw was really a growth theme. So companies are likely to be more creators of jobs. They're more likely to see their products and services exported to different markets. And in addition, they're also likely to see higher revenue growth. In fact, every step on the ladder represents an increase in around 11 percentage points in terms of revenue growth. So the benefits are clear. And just to dive into those a little bit more, the benefits accrue in terms of business performance. So as we said, you're likely to see, in comparison to the basic use of digital tools, if you look at the advanced users, you're likely to see 2 times as much revenue generated per employee. More advanced users see around 45% revenue growth year over year, which compares to about 12% in basic. So that's about a 4 times increase. Like we said, you're more likely to be a job creator. Historically, seeing around 6% more employment growth, and then in the future, predictions 3 times as much employee growth. And like I said, in terms of the increase in products, diversity, and exporting to different markets, digital tools allow organizations to take their products and services to a broader set of customers. So the increases are seen in the marketplace broadly, and also to the SMBs themselves. And I'm going to turn over to John just to give us a little bit more of a deeper dive into some of those benefits and also to some of the challenges in adoption.
Thanks very much, George. So as George said, you've got 20% of small businesses that have that advanced level of digital adoption. But of course, that leaves 80%, the majority of small businesses that don't. So of course, the second important question which our research asked was to try to understand why. What are some of the barriers to digital adoption? What are the benefits? What are some of the specific characteristics for small businesses that are affecting their use of digital tools? On that, this next slide is illuminating on the perceived benefits driving digital adoption. It shows that it's the external benefits of using digital tools like the web, mobile apps, data analytics that's really driving digital use. 38% citing the increase in sales and revenue. Big scores for accessing new customers in the US and 24/7 around the clock as being key benefits of digital. And one thing you can't see on that slide there, but if you just pull out the advanced digital businesses, the ones who are using tools the most, they pick up some of those specific sophisticated benefits like targeting new market segments as being really important for their business. By comparison, you have to look down the list to see the internal benefits that businesses get from using digital tools, things like online advertising for lowering their business costs, or using cloud technology for driving new innovation. They came a very distant second in terms of the benefits that small businesses were getting. So in some sense, that makes sense for really growth-focused small businesses, but I think it also points to a bit of an opportunity for even some of the advanced small businesses about how they can use digital tools more in the future. Over on the next slide, we switch to the other side of the coin, the barriers, what's holding businesses back. And you can see there that it's a lack of relevance for a business and a lack of understanding about how to make digital effective that are the biggest barriers to businesses adopting new tools like mobile apps or data analytics, social media, other things. I mean, a stunning result from our perspective, 40% of businesses putting their hand up and saying, the internet, I mean, that's not relevant for my business. It suggests that there really is an advocacy task for businesses like Deloitte and Google and others to demonstrate the importance of the digital age. Operational considerations and competence, you can see around the middle there. Next very important set of factors, things like cost and time, obviously are very big factors driving small business behaviour and whether they can adopt digital tools. The interesting thing on this slide for us is actually down the bottom, where you see that hard infrastructure and technical issues like poor internet access and legacy systems, they weren't really identified as being barriers to adopting digital tools these days. I mean, I think if you were to look at this chart 5 years ago or 10 years ago, they would have been really significant factors. But obviously they've dropped away, and now it's more that advocacy task. So there's some of the barriers. And then over the page, over on the next slide, we finish off with a discussion about some of the business characteristics that are associated with different levels of digital engagement. Up there, we've got some figures about business location and business size. A couple that we don't have on the slide that I'll just call out that were some really interesting findings were that who runs a small business really matters to its level of digital engagement, not just its employees. SMBs, small and medium-sized businesses that were run by women, that were run by younger people, millennials as we call them, people under 35, and by tech-savvy business owners were much more likely to have higher levels of digital engagement. Just to call out a couple of statistics there, women-owned small businesses, 8 percentage points more likely to be at that advanced or high level of digital engagement. Businesses owned by younger owners, 34 percentage points more likely to be advanced or high levels of digital engagement. Businesses owned by people who are regular users of technology themselves, again, much more likely to be digitally engaged. So I know that on our panel we'll have that discussion today. It would be great to hear, some of those insights. Women-owned businesses, tech-savvy people who demonstrate success and how technology can be used. What you can see on this slide here is digital engagement by location and by business size. On the left-hand side, you'll see there that rural businesses much more likely to have that basic level of digital engagement, which just to reiterate is they're businesses that are offline. They don't have a website, don't have a social media strategy, not using mobile apps, all those things. You can see that there's a big group there of rural businesses that are in the basic category, and it's much higher than it is for non-rural businesses. Over on the right-hand side, it's a similar story by business size. The really smallest businesses, 1 to 9 employees, a big rump of businesses that are not using digital tools compared with the larger, what we call medium-sized businesses with between 10 and 250 employees. Now, you might look at these charts and think, oh well, that's the stereotype. Businesses in the country, really small businesses, less likely to be online. But we thought, actually, hold on a second. Wouldn't rural businesses and really small businesses have a lot to gain from getting online, accessing more customers, doing more things cheaply? What dividend is on the table for them? And if we have a look over on the next slide, check this out. We wanted to calculate the digital dividend that George spoke about earlier. What's the revenue boost from taking these steps, each step up the digital ladder from basic to intermediate to high to advanced? Is it different for rural small businesses, for really small businesses? And in fact, we found it wasn't. That if you lived in a regional or a rural area of the US, that didn't mean that digital tools weren't as useful for you. You can see there on the left, the digital dividend, the boost to income that comes from getting online is just as big for rural as it is for non-rural businesses, practically as big for small businesses as it is for medium businesses. What that means is that the internet, social media, mobile apps, other digital tools are a great force for leveling the playing field between smaller businesses and bigger businesses in the US. And I know that some of our panelists will speak today to how they've managed to take on some of the bigger companies in the US using digital tools. And I think it's a really fascinating and exciting development for the economy. So, I think with all of that data, the important question is, what are the next steps? What actions can SMBs take to lift their game?
Yeah, so thanks, John. So as we heard, there's not a big opportunity with over 80% of US small businesses not yet realizing their full digital potential. So we laid out some steps here to help on the journey. The good news is that although there are some barriers that exist, these are not insurmountable. So we think one of the big things that we heard is an opportunity to increase awareness and understanding. And there's a wealth of resources, peer groups, experts to tap into to help build that awareness and campaigning. I think secondly, recognize that not all the journeys are going to be the same. So adopt at your own pace. Look for examples with your peers, with competitors, what's worked, what's been done, and take that next step on the journey. I think the next piece is around deeper learning and development. Again, a wealth of resources exist to help SMBs on their journey, and a wealth of resources, both digital and human. And then finally, I think there are some both real and perceived challenges with digital adoption, things like privacy and security. And again, there's a wealth of resources in the community, other organizations to help tap into detailed expertise that can help you in specific areas. So there's a number of stages on the journey. I think what we've seen are real examples of business benefits, performance benefits, benefits to the community, to employees, and the marketplace at whole. And with that, I'll turn over to Leslie and we can move to the panel.
Wonderful. Thank you, George and John, for taking us through the research findings. And as a reminder for everybody who's tuning in, we are gathering questions throughout this live stream on Twitter. So if you have a question, please tweet us using the hashtag #SmallBizResearch, and we'll do our best to get that fielded out to all of our live stream participants during the live Q&A at the end of this live stream. So now I'd like to shift gears and welcome our business panel to share more about what they do, their reactions to the research findings, and their own experiences using digital tools for their businesses. So please join me in welcoming Wendy Xu, who's the Vice President of Sage Millimeter, based in Torrance, California. Founded in 2011, Sage Millimeter is a woman-owned business that designs and manufactures high-frequency electronic components and subassemblies that are being used by engineers on projects like 5G and the Internet of Things. Welcome also to Jim Hobart, who is the co-founder of Alpaca Direct, based in Hayden, Idaho. Established in 2005, Alpaca Direct provides durable, eco-friendly yarn and fiber to knitting and apparel enthusiasts all over the world through their website and through their retail store in Hayden. Kim Ormsby is the CEO and founder of the Natural Baby Company, based in Bozeman, Montana. Started in 2003, the Natural Baby Company provides eco-friendly parenting products, both online and in their retail location in Bozeman. And finally, welcome to John Adams, who's the technology director at Villa Lagoon Tile, based in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Founded in 2008, Villa Lagoon manufactures both in-stock and custom encaustic cement tiles. So welcome to you all, and thank you so much for joining us today on the live stream. I'm hoping we can start by each of you just telling us a little bit more about your businesses and how you're currently using digital tools.
Hi, Villa Lagoon Tile, we produce cement tile. We started on the web. In fact, our website is our showroom. 100% of our sales come from the web. Even our, after 10 years in business, we have a lot of repeat clients and have developed some strong relationships with design firms, and they still use our website to see what we have and what we can do for them. So here's actually some cement tile, and this is handmade, hand poured. We do different shapes, colors, etc. And if we focused on, say, local business, we get like maybe 2 or 3 walk-ins a year. So digital is really what has, allowed for our business to even exist.
Hi, I'm Jim with Alpaca Direct, and we sell yarn, apparel, socks to customers both locally and online. And we use digital tools to close the gap between our in-store shopping experience and the online experience. Here's some specific numbers. 92% of our sales are online to about 100,000 customers in 30 countries. We have about a 10.2 conversion rate, and that's really good for industry standards. About 8% of our sales are through our brick and mortar store, but that has an 82% conversion rate. So that's a really good opportunity to create a really great, shopping experience and really move the numbers if it can emulate the physical store. We use YouTube and Facebook videos to create product videos. Introducing people to our store, we create knitting and crochet technique videos to help people grow their skills. We also use Google AdWords to reach new customers and Google Analytics to measure the results. Every marketing campaign is tagged and tracked using the Google URL Campaign Builder. We use Google Docs internally to run a lot of our operations, but all these digital tools are simply to support the foundation of great products, fast shipping, and excellent customer service.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Ormsby, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Natural Baby Company, and we're based in Bozeman, Montana. And our business is really fairly multifaceted. We have a brick and mortar, which I'm sitting in right now in Bozeman, Montana. We also emulate that in an online store, thenaturalbabyco.com online. And then we design and manufacture a couple of our own brands, Grovia Cloth Diapers, which you see behind me, and High Diaper Bag. And those are sold wholesale direct to other boutiques just like this. Many of them are selling online as well. And throughout our business, across everything we do, we use digital tools, and they're instrumental in everything. For marketing and growth, we use Google AdWords, Google Shopping. Social media is huge for us to reach and connect and forge relationships with our customers, because we're not just selling them a product. We're parents, they're parents, and that connection is really, really important with them. We use YouTube and Vimeo for tutorials and educational videos, because a lot of the products require a bit of education, and they're not going to walk into a large box store and get that. They're going to get it from us. And those visual videos are really, really important. So how to cloth diaper, how to install a car seat, how to take apart a sippy cup. Those are all things that, that we can use YouTube and Vimeo for. We use MailChimp for email marketing, Shopify for the back end of our websites, ShareSale for affiliate programs. Google Analytics, huge, 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 and we haven't really even tapped all of what we could do with that. We're still learning, and that's an ongoing process for us. Internally, we use digital tools to increase our work productivity and our communications between our staff. We're not a huge company. We have a very open work environment. We're all super busy and wearing a lot of hats. So those tools are really important. G Suite, Google Business Suite is used every day by our entire staff. Dropbox and Google Photos for our photo storage, which is also provided to our retailers so that they can take all of our great images we've created and put them on their website. POS and QuickBooks for accounting, HighRise for CRM, Google Webmaster Tools to optimize our website visibility. So we use it everywhere. There really is very little that we do every day that doesn't require some sort of digital tool. And it wasn't all at once. We've added as we've gone along and as we've grown a business.
Hey everyone, I'll round out the question. So Sage is a little bit different because we're strictly B2B. We're probably 60-40 in terms of our domestic and our international sales. So we're less focused on community and social media. We're more focused on making sure that first our customers can find us, and then second that they can find information about our products around the clock. So we use digital tools to organize, to collect information, to plan, and we too use it throughout our company. So the highlights are, sales marketing, so having e-commerce lean using Google tools, Google Analytics, AdWords, and then internally also driving our workflow, managing our products. And then recently what's been really important is recruiting and HR management. We also use digital tools for that.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And just a reminder for everyone who's tuned in, we are taking questions that we will field to everyone who's presenting at the end of today's live stream. And if you have a question, feel free to tweet it to us using the hashtag smallbiz, B-I-Z, research, all one word. So I'd love to shift gears a little bit, given what George and John talked about in terms of the benefits that small businesses can experience by using digital tools, to hear more about what are the specific benefits that you all are seeing from the digital tools that you've adopted in your businesses, and you've listed numerous tools that you're using.
Yeah, I can take that first. So I can confirm the findings in the report, right? What's really cool is Sage launched our new website back in September. And so we have really good picture of before and after, what happens after you implement a tool that works for you. So the report says higher revenue, absolutely yes. So November 16 versus November 17, 17 had more than 2.5% of the sales of 16. And then with that comes the need to grow your team. So today we're 37 people. A couple months ago in September, we were only 27. And I think the big picture is that overall, using digital tools allows us to have more control of our business, meaning we know who our customer is, we know why they buy, how they buy, we know more about the marketplace, and all of that goes into better planning for our business, and it's been great.
I'll go next. Definitely we see increased customer engagement. So with using tools like video where they can really experience what our store is like, what the products are like, just brings everything to life in a whole new way. Definitely that helps increase our conversion rates, increase our revenues. And over time, I think we're getting a lot more repeat buyers because they're connecting with us, not just as a store, but as people. And we all know, like when you go to your local place and your restaurant where the chef knows you, there's a different experience. And so that's what we're trying to create as well. And finally, probably lower customer acquisition costs. So we can actually specifically target the people who are right for us so that it's a good fit.
I can speak and kind of confirm and go along the lines of what Wendy and Jim are saying, what the report is saying, which is, you know, with increased efficiency with your digital tools, your revenue and your ability to retain your customers, especially for us in the consumer goods space, is has been huge. I mean, we once we make an initial sale with the customer, often they're coming back again and again, but they also require a certain level of support. And the digital tools like social media, and like I said, video is really, really important for us to be able to reach that customer in a quick and easy way that's maybe timely for them. We don't keep really standard business hours, and we're selling worldwide. So people can reach us through social media or pull up a video on their time, and it might be in the middle of the night, but they're able to do it. And so these digital tools are really, really, really instrumental. I mean, you pretty much can't do business without them at this point.
Yeah, the digital tools have fueled our growth, and you know, also made it manageable. For starters, it gives us a global audience. We've done, say, floors for hotels in Eastern Europe, casinos in Macau, restaurants in New York, and you know, homes and patios in Australia. It's also grown the market. You know, when we started 10 years ago, there was almost no market for cement tile in the United States. With the visual social media platforms, you know, like Pinterest and Instagram, by about 5 years ago, you know, cement tile floors were showing up, and it's like, ooh, what's this? And now it's, ooh, look at that beautiful cement tile. It's also made, you know, our growth to some degree manageable. When we started with just a few in-stock products, you know, inventory could be kept on pen and paper. You know, once you have several salespeople and say somebody in the warehouse shipping, you know, now, you know, we step up to shared spreadsheets with Google Drive, and are now transitioning into a ERM platform. And we also have a tile design tool that I wrote, an HTML app that actually allows the client for their custom tile to pick a pattern and kind of like paint by number, so like the colors they want, and print a document that goes, straight through the sales process to production, rather than have to say, okay, well, have you ever used Photoshop? And so it's really fueled and made our growth manageable.
That's great. I'd love to keep digging into, your reactions to some of the research findings that George and John presented. This one's probably more for Wendy and for Kim. John mentioned that their research found that women-led or women-owned businesses were actually more likely to be using advanced digital tools. And I wanted to see what your reactions were to that finding, whether those resonated with you and your businesses.
I can speak to that a bit. I think when I first saw that information, that I was like, I thought, oh, I've never thought about it in that way. But giving some time to really sit and think about how and why that might be true, it makes maybe a bit of sense. So I can speak to my own experience, which is, as a small business and entrepreneur, small business owner, you're constantly looking for ways to bootstrap and make yourself really efficient. And a lot of these digital tools allow me to do that. I think a lot of women-owned businesses gravitate towards digital tools because they're often startups. You need to work harder, or work smarter, not harder. And the digital tools kind of give us that ability. For myself, I'm a mom to young children. And so I'm juggling owning a business, I'm running a company, having employees. I'm also juggling home life. So my work hours are all over the place. And I might put the kids to bed, and I need to be able to be really productive in after hours. And so I can spend time on our social media, and I can spend time building the videos and getting them up and stuff. And so it allows me to be really productive in some really different hours that aren't your standard work hours. So, and also for us, I think we are a women-owned business. I am selling baby products, of course, to a lot of women. And these tools have allowed me to kind of make a connection. And our customers are not always just looking to buy a product. They're looking for a story. They love buying from another, woman-owned business. And that is allowing me, I'm kind of asking and inviting our customers into my own personal life a little bit, and giving them little glimpses of that. And that matters to them. And that is how we've done a lot of our customer growth. So.
Yeah, when I read that, I thought about it too. And I think, again, I can only speak to my industry and my business, but we're in an industry that's high tech. Certainly the engineers are predominantly male, and the leaders are predominantly male. And the average age of a player in this industry is 55 to 60 years old. So the good news is that there are more women who are joining our industry, participating and leading in our industry. So because these women are younger, perhaps, their age group, their age demographic, which also came up in the report, is maybe one reason why they're more open-minded or more comfortable to adopt digital tools and implement digital strategies in general, maybe.
Well, thanks you both for sharing that. I'd love to shift gears. Jim, I have a question for you. The Deloitte research also found, seems to suggest that businesses based in rural areas are less likely to be using advanced digital tools. And I'd love it if you could share a little bit more, being based, excuse me, in Idaho. What do you think are sort of the unique characteristics of businesses based in more rural areas? And perhaps what are some of the unique challenges you think they face?
Great. Yeah. My wife and I were on a vacation 12 years ago, and we ended up in Coeur d'Alene, which is right near where I am. And it's a beautiful lake, beautiful area. And we just turned to each other and said, it would be great to live here. And so we decided to move from the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, where I spent most of my career, and moved up here. So we're actually, I call it a click and mortar business. I'm the click, and my wife is the mortar. And she is choosing all the products, engaging with our customers. As far as uniqueness in rural areas, I think it's the small town. It's about the people. It's about the personal connections we make. And the more that we can emulate those rich personal interactions that happen in our store with our online experience, the better chance we have at creating long-term customers. So that's what that engagement's all about.
Wonderful. And would you say there are any particular challenges that businesses based in more rural areas experience that you think might be playing out in the research findings?
Yes, for us, it's a little maybe a difference because we're pretty advanced in our use of digital tools. So we're way up at the very top end of the curve there. So for us, although it was a low number for, I think in the future, you're going to see this as a harbinger in the future, and that is that improved internet access. Essentially, the way I say it is, the on-ramps to the digital highway really need better access for rural areas. And our competitors in large cities like Seattle and LA and New York, they have what's the equivalent of a 12-lane freeway, while our access to that freeway is more like a worn-out toll road with potholes and maintained by a single source provider with very little incentive to make improvements. So we're stuck. And this limits our ability to live stream events like this and to truly interact and engage one-on-one with our customers. And in the very near future, this is going to be the way people shop, and it will be a differentiator in our ability to deliver these kinds of competitive services.
Thanks, Jim. John, I had a question for you. Deloitte's research also suggested that the smallest businesses, and that's really defined by size of business by employees, were less likely to be using those most advanced digital tools. And given that Villa Lagoon, at least from an employee standpoint, would be considered small, I'd love if you could share a little bit more about your own experience as a very small business using digital and your reaction to that particular research finding.
It's not surprising. Small business owners, have work to do. They have a craft, that they have to practice. So, a lot of them, don't necessarily have time for digital marketing or other digital tools. And they may not need it yet if they're the only ones, in their business, or there's just a few of them. As I was, talking about our inventory system, when it's one or two people, a piece of paper and a pen, you can keep up with your inventory. But when you've got a small team of salespeople on the phones and workers in the warehouse packing orders, that doesn't work anymore. And we deal also, a lot of our clients are small businesses, independent contractors, and solo designers and architect firms. And it's really a grab bag. Anywhere between, the contractor for household building and remodel who just has a Gmail address, and, some of the small solo interior design firms have a huge digital presence.
Well, thank you for that. I'd love to shift gears a little bit and see if any of you would be willing to share some of the challenges that you face in using digital tools for your business, since I believe we've talked about kind of the overall barriers as they played out in the research. It would be great to get your perspectives on that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share some challenges. I think the hardest thing for us was finding the right tools for our business. So there's so many digital tools to choose from. Everyone was designed for a reason, to help somebody. And it takes some trial and error to realize that somebody may not be your company. So we wasted some time in the last couple of years implementing tools that weren't good for us. But I think when you find yourself in that situation, you have to cut your losses and just do better research, know your customer better, know your team better, so that you can find the right tools, and it pays off in the end still. Yeah.
Thanks, Wendy. And I think we have time for one last question for the panel. So I'll throw this to anybody. What advice would you give to a small business who might be tuned in, who wants to bring more technology into their business? Maybe they're just getting started, but they don't quite know how to start. What advice would you give them?
I would say look for podcasts. Almost any topic out there digital, you're going to be able to find a podcast on search marketing, digital marketing, social media, and I think Kim has some great insight on like order of precedence, where to start and move to. So I'd like to give it to Kim.
Yeah. So thanks, Sean. I think probably more important than the type of tools that you pick, it's when you pick them. And there is a sequence, whether you're a startup or if you're just dabbling, if you're brick and mortar and you've decided, oh my gosh, there's more customers online, I need to go there. You have to have a website, and you don't have to spend a ton. It has to be a clean website, a website that's easy to navigate, that has some SEO content on it. Because if you don't have a website, you don't have a place to send people, those other digital tools aren't going to help you. Even a Facebook page and Instagram, like people want to go somewhere to read an About Us page, to read about your products, to read about your mission, whatever it is. So you have to have the website. I think first and foremost. And then there's things that actually don't cost you a lot of money to do. They cost your time. And as entrepreneurs and startups, one of those is social media. And it's not optional anymore. As a business owner, whether you're service-based or, or selling consumer goods direct to consumer like I am, you have to have social media. And it takes time to build that. And you have to cultivate it. It's not I'm going to post once a month. You have to post often. And it becomes part of your marketing tools, but those things are no longer optional. So the sequence of how you add in these digital tools, I know at the beginning I rattled off a whole long list, and actually almost kind of surprised me at how many we'd use at this point in our business. We didn't start there. And even if you were a company that had a bunch of money to spend on those things, doesn't mean you should. You need to really stop and think about the sequence. Well, if I add this digital tool in, how is it going to help me? What am I going to do with it? Am I actually going to be able to implement it? Can I train my staff on it? Because if you can't do those things, there's no point in spending money. You might as well not do it. So the sequence of events, the sequence of digital tools and how you add them to your business, I think is as important as the tools themselves. And there's tons. You will get bombarded. I get emails constantly about, oh, I have a new tool for you. And I delete them. Basically, generally, the way I go to find a digital tool is I'm problem solving within my business. So, oh my gosh, we can't do this anymore. We need something more efficient. What are we going to do? And then I go out and search for a tool. So I don't generally look through my inbox for spam messages from digital tool entities. I just don't. So anyways, but the sequence thing is really, really big. At least it was for us.
And I'd agree with that, Kim. Just to pick up on what you said, 100% with everything you've said. First thing is you do get overwhelmed with so many people with a solution. So what I would say as a small business owner is no one knows your audience and who you're targeting better than you. It's your business. So, for us, we have different strategies for each of our audiences. We sell to knitters, and they hang out on Facebook and Pinterest. So, but they don't, for us, our specific market, they don't, for instance, hang out a lot on Instagram. So we, have to conserve our efforts. And so we target that specific market. We also sell to sock buyers. Sock buyers maybe don't knit, some do, but they, they're very research oriented. They're not posting that they bought a sock on Facebook, but they read the reviews, the product reviews very diligently. So we have different conversion funnels and different strategies for each of the audiences we choose. Once we've done that, we have to get really clear on, and I would suggest to be very clear on your specific goals you're targeting. Is it conversion? Is it engagement? Is it reach? And then align that digital strategy to the goals, and again, measure against them. And there's some great free tools that let you know how you're spending every one of your marketing dollars. That way, if you do bring in expertise, and that could be a friend, it could be, a local place or another company, once you get very clear with them on who that market is you're targeting, what specifically you're going to measure, they should be able to give you some good expertise and help to move forward. And finally, I'd say, use all the free tools we talked about today.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Wendy, Kim, Jim, and John, all for taking time out of incredibly busy schedules to join us today for the live stream, to share your own experience and reactions to the research, and also tips for other business owners who will be joining in. So now I'm going to move us to the last portion of today's live stream, which is Q&A from our audience. And as a reminder, we are taking questions throughout this live stream that I'll now field to all of the folks who are joining us to present. And if you have a question, now is the time. If you haven't already, please tweet us using the hashtag #SmallBizResearch, and we'll do our best to get your question answered by the panelists. So I'm going to switch gears here and see what we've got coming in. Okay, so first question probably is for maybe George and John, but anyone can jump in. What was the thing that surprised you most about the research findings?
Yeah, I can maybe give an initial one. I'm not sure a whole lot of the macro level surprised us. I think it reaffirmed maybe some of the thoughts that we had. I think one thing that I wanted to point out was around causality. So we talked about revenue growth. We talked about that being associated more with the higher or the more advanced use of digital tools. I think there's a virtuous circle there. And obviously that causality could go both ways. So it could be that the more successful, the higher growth companies have the luxury to invest more time and be more sophisticated in their use of digital tools. On the other hand, it could be that using those tools generates that growth as well. So I think that was an interesting thing to draw out.
Yeah, and look, only other thing for me, Leslie, is just explaining how digital tools helps to diversify businesses' revenue as well was a really interesting finding. I mean, yes, it can lead to more growth, but you also get more growth from different areas. So it won't just be your existing customers. There'll also be more of an opportunity to expand into new product and new service areas, access new customers that are in other markets. It helps to just build up the reliability of your revenue as well. And that's something which, it can't be easily quantified, but it's another real benefit for small businesses in getting online, that they're not always just reliant upon their existing customer base. And it helps explain why businesses are doing so well. And I think the panel members here today have all explained in different ways how their businesses manage to grow and diversify their revenue.
Wonderful.
I'd like to jump in with it. It wasn't in an infographic, but it was a little line in one of the paragraphs that said 40% of small businesses think that being small is an advantage, and they're more able to adapt adopt these digital strategies. I've always felt that way. I didn't know so many others felt that way. And certainly, when we were making mistakes and implementing the wrong tools for ourselves, nobody, no manager above manager was telling me, you're doing a bad job. We were able to switch gears right away and try something else that works. So being small is an advantage a lot of the times.
That's great. Looks like we have another question, maybe to go to our business panelists. So this is someone who's basically saying, I got into the woodworking business because I'm passionate about woodworking. I'm just not as passionate about search engine optimization and online marketing. Where could I go to get help? Does anyone want to take that?
I guess I could chime in just a little bit. I don't woodwork. Yeah. I know nothing about it. I like it. It's great. But a lot of times you need to look locally. So to find a business that is maybe somewhat similar, maybe it's not woodworking, but maybe it's tile work or something else. But find another small business and go have a cup of coffee with them. Just reach out to them. When I started, that was often how I got help. When I didn't know where to go. I didn't have a budget to hire somebody to come in and help me. And so, and I've returned that favor over the years. I'll get small businesses, a lot of times women that feel comfortable coming to me and asking and saying, I just want to, and I'm happy to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them. I think it's really, really important. And it doesn't cost that much. It's a little bit of your time. But most small business owners are more than happy to do that. And so I would encourage you to look local first so you can have a face-to-face interaction with another business owner.
And one thing I'll say is, I guess I'm kind of lucky in that way. My wife, for instance, loves to knit. So because we sell to knitters and the yarn, she can do stuff with yarn that's amazing. And she's not that interested maybe in the SEO and all that stuff. So as a team, it's really fun because I can actually help with the videos. I can help with just getting the word out and using social media with our team, and she can do what she loves. So in this chapter in our life, it's a really fun thing. And it doesn't have to be your spouse, but there's probably someone who has those skills who can share them with you, or you can work in a partnership to get that done.
Thanks, Jim. Anybody else want to chime in with a last go-to resource that they would recommend other folks check out?
Okay, I'll say one more thing. It's really what John was saying. There are a lot of free online resources, right? So just start big picture, either internal, external, focus on an area like you guys are sitting in front of a Google sign, right? So Google, because they have a lot of digital tools, they want their users to be successful with them. There's a tool called Google Primer, and it's like 5-minute bites of information about how to get your digital strategy going. So there's a lot of free resources out there. You have to do a little bit of research, that's all.
Wonderful. Well, I think, oh wait, Jim, did you want to, or was that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was at actually a Google event and I didn't know about it, but it's GYBO, Get Your Business Online. So, and that's, I think, another Google resource, but that had kind of everything in one place. So that was a great place to go as well.
I love it. Well, I don't think that could be a more perfect segue to the last slides I wanted to share with everyone before we have to wrap up. Unfortunately, we're at the near end of today's live stream. Just getting a couple of questions through on Twitter that I think we can address with this slide here. We'll close out Q&A here. Thank you so much for participating and submitting your questions. Now, some of you did ask about the research report that George and John referenced. If you're interested in exploring the research further, you can download both of the reports that we've talked about today on the Deloitte website at the link listed here on this slide. And then Jim, literally perfect segue. You know, if you're tuned in and you work at a small business or you're a small business owner who wants to learn more about digital tools, we would love to have you join us at an upcoming small business workshop, which is, you know, where we at Google help businesses all over the US learn about digital tools and increase their online presence and really think about their digital strategy. So if you're interested in that, you can find all of our upcoming workshops at the link provided on this slide. And I think with that, we are going to conclude today's session. And from all of us here at Google on the Small Business Outreach team, just want to say a huge thank you to you for joining, to our presenters, everyone, and for everyone tuning in. We so appreciate you taking the time to join us for today's live stream, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.